Hello everybody and welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason and I will be bringing you today's video. Now before we go into the video, just a couple quick things. Now most of what we talk about as far as what's coming up and what our goals and plans are, we usually put near the end of the video. But a couple real quick things, slight change to the format of how we're doing things. Right now I'm trying to do anywhere between 15 to 22, 23 videos a week, and just to be dead honest, it's killing me. Plus, with all the expense that we've put into this, there's a chance I may end up having to pick up a second job, which I'll cut into some of that a little bit. So it's going to trim down a little bit. I'm going to do my best to put up at least one video per day, Sunday through Thursday. I will attempt to do a video per day, Friday and Saturday. I'm going to try and thin myself down to about 10 to 12 videos a week. The remaining videos are going to go on our Patron site for all of our patrons. So I'm going to attempt also to do one a day, at least Sunday through Thursday on that site as well. So I'm still going to attempt to do 2 videos a day, Sunday through Thursday. But the 3 video thing that I tried to do for a little while was just too much. The weekends are a little bit difficult. I'll do the best I can. But again, we're going to split it. About half the videos are going to go on the Patron site. Otherwise, for anything else, just as far as upcoming plans and all that, just check the end of the video. Otherwise, we're going to jump right into today's video. So for today's video, this one might actually be a little bit of a longer video. I am taking a suggestion, or a question rather, from one of our viewers, and it deals with the regression video that we posted not too long ago, where we just talked about various regression strategies, why some people would play them. And I put a couple of examples on there, and they asked which would work the best. What would work the best? Now, like most strategies, it all depends on what you're looking for. They're probably going to work the best in different situations. Shorter rolls, medium rolls, longer rolls. Each one is going to work better. And especially considering that each player may play it slightly differently, once they regress down, they could do different things. Power press, sister presses, press 1 units, mid presses. For the purposes of this video, once they regress, I'm going to mid press these bets up to a certain point. Once they hit a certain point, we'll go into closer to a power press, because that's how most players would play it. Once they have collected a fairly significant amount, they tend to switch over to something more aggressive. So what we're going to look at is I got rid of the puck for this, so we're going to look at 3 versions of the regression. We're going to look at let me just put all 3 out now. We are going to look at 2 hits and then regressing down. We're going to look at 2 hits. Okay, so we're going to look at 2 hits and regress everything down to table minimum. We'll do a $10 we'll do a $15 minimum bet table for this, okay? So we're going to look at 2 hits and regress it down. We're going to look at 1 hit and regress the individual number down. And then we're going to look at power press once, and then 2nd hit, regress the individual number down. And from there, we're going to mid press these up. Now when I do these individual hits, especially on the shorter rolls, I'm going to start out with the inside numbers. We're going to deal with the inside number hits. Okay. By the way, thank you everybody for the coffee. It's very, very appreciated. And I hope everyone is enjoying the Patreon exclusive videos that we're trying to put out every single day now. Real quick also, by the suggestion of one of our fans, I'm stringing together our older videos into long, almost super long videos to create these 3-4 hour long videos that I'm going to put out as premieres. They were suggesting it as a way for them to be able to do super chats and super stickers for us, which would be, of course, very, very appreciated and help us advance the channel. So I'm going to give it a shot. It takes a while for those to edit, but hopefully I can get one out every single day. And yeah, there we go. And over time I'll probably make these even longer, as I might start stringing together the super videos. Their suggestion was a 24/7 premiere video, but unfortunately a 24-hour long video is kind of difficult for me to put together at the moment. So let's take a look. Now, since they were asking what works best, I'm going to have to do this slightly differently. Normally I would do the 15 rolls, the 30 rolls, the 45 rolls, and the 60 rolls without a 7. In this case though, with regression strategies, they are looking at shorter rolls. They are looking at the 7 coming out the second, the third, the fourth roll, stuff like that. That's their quote-unquote hedge. So I'm going to have to look at this in the smaller rolls first, and then I'll go to the longer rolls. I don't know if I'll do the 45 and the 60 roll, but I will definitely do the 15 and the 30 roll. Now again, for the individual hits earlier on, I'm going to start with the inside numbers. Okay, so as I'm going to go out to 6 hits, I'm going to have to kind of space this out a little bit, because I then want to be able to go into the 15 rolls and 30 rolls without a 7, which, going by statistical likelihoods, we're not going to have 6 of those occurring on one number here, but it will be covered with the inside numbers. So taking a look, and I'm using the inside numbers, by the way, because that's where most of the hits are going to occur. Let me get out a piece of paper, because I'm probably going to have to put some notes out for this. Get myself some notes so I can keep track of what I'm doing with these smaller hits. All right, so first off, we're going to look at the 2 hits and then regress strategy. So the first hit would be, I'm skipping one thing. I'm skipping the 0.7 out, because the 0.7 out, every one of these strategies has the exact same result. They all lose $160, because you'll notice we're doing 160 across to start with. So I'm skipping that one, because in that instance, they're all the exact same. So with one hit, the take 2 hits and then come down player only collects once. Okay, now we're going to do the one hit with the start out with the 5. So the hit once and regress player be right there. The power press and then regress player. So after one hit and then a 7 out, power press, regress, one hit is down $160. Put that right there. The individual regress after one hit is down, let's see, they've collected 145, so out of 160, that means they are down 115. And the 2 hit regress everything after one hit, it's collected 35, which means they are down 125. So if the 7 out occurs on the second roll, then the regress to individual number is doing better. Now, on the second hit, we'll go to the 6, and I'm going to kind of go down the chain and then go back, because the power press player would definitely have an advantage once a number hits twice. So we're going to try and keep it to the statistical likelihood is that other numbers will roll prior to one number rolling twice. Now, are there exceptions? Fairly often. There's plenty of times I saw a hard 10 roll 4 times in a row last night. So anything can happen. Anything can happen. And that's what most strategies exist for, is they're existing for that anything happening. So we'll look at the 6. So now, when the 6 rolls, now we are at the second hit. So the first player takes everything down, because they have now hit twice. And now they are going to go down to 96 across, including the point. And that's why I got rid of the puck. as there was no point in a puck right now. It's not what we're looking at. Then they go 96 across, including. Now the other player, the one that is taking individual regressions, so they're going to get paid their 35. They're going to come down on that number, down to 18. And the power press player is going to press it on up. Right? They're not going to throw in extra money. We could do that on power press, but we're not going to do that in this case. So after 2 hits, the player that power presses before regressing down an individual number is now down $155. The player that does the individual regressions has collected 92, so after the second hit, they are down $68. And the player that does 2 hits and then regresses has collected $134. So after 2 hits, they are down $26. So after 1 hit and then a 7 out, the player that does the individual regressions, regresses individual numbers, is down the least amount of money. So after 1 hit and then a 7 out, the individual regressor is a stronger strategy. After 2 hits and then a 7 out, the player that does 2 hits and then regresses down is down the least amount of money. They are still slightly down, but it is, again, the least amount of money. So 1 hit before 7, individual regressor is a stronger strategy. 2 hits and then a 7, the 2-hit regress everything is a stronger strategy. So now let's look at the 3rd hit. So the 3rd hit, we're going to move over to the 8. So since this player has already regressed, now they are looking at mid-pressing. So with an $18 bet, they're most likely going to mid-press it up to 30. The individual regressor oops, I should probably grab the rest of the money too. Comes down to 18. And the power press regressor just goes up because they haven't had a number hit twice yet. So after 3 hits, and then if the 7 out occurs after the 3rd hit, the power press regressor is down $150. The individual 35 has 139, so they are down $21. And the 2 hit and then regress after the 3rd hit, since they regressed everything, they have 143, so they are down $17. So what you'll notice here is the individual regressor was strongest in the 1st hit, weakest in the 2nd and 3rd hits, or not weakest, weaker in the 2nd and 3rd hits, but that gap is closing because once the player that regresses everything regresses down and other numbers start hitting, the players that have larger amounts are, of course, winning at this point. And of course, the one that power presses everything on the 1st hit is down. So the 4th hit, now we'll go to the 9. So the 4th hit, now we're looking at the 9. This player is likely going to mid-press themselves up to a quarter. The regress after the 1st hit brings themselves down, and the power presser goes all the way up. So after the 4th hit and then a 7 out, the power press and then regress after the 2nd hit is still down $150. The individual regressor now has $184. So now they are plus $24. And the regress after the 2nd hit player and then mid-press after the 4th hit is now down $6. So here's something that's interesting. The power press player is, of course, still down. They really shine when there's multiple hits on the same number. And especially in the shorter rolls, they're going to get hurt the worst. But you'll notice that the player that individually regresses, hits a number and then regresses it down after the first hit, they are weaker, second weakest on the first hit, strongest on the first hit because they've collected more, second weakest on the second and third hits. Whereas the player that hits twice and then regresses everything down is second weakest on the first hit, strongest on the second hit, strongest on the third hit, but once again drops back down to second weakest on the fourth hit, while the individual regressor is now winning money. Now their bankroll is now up $24. They are the only player, after 4 hits, they are the only player that is actually positive. So now let's go to a 5th hit. So we're going to go back to the 5. So on the 5th hit, this would be a second hit over here. So they are going to mid-press that. The player that regressed after the first hit is also going to mid-press. And the power pressing player, now that they have hit their second time hitting a number, is going to regress it down. Okay, 5 hits and then the 7. The power press and then regress player has $139, so they are down $21. The individual regressor has $195, so they are up $35. And the 2 hit and then regress player, regress everything player, has $165, so they are plus 5. So once again, the player that does individual regressions is the strongest player at the moment as far as their bankroll is reflecting. They are strongest in the first 1 hit and then a 7 out, 4 hits and a 7 out, 5 hits and a 7 out. They're weakest in 2 hits and 3 hits and a 7 out. So let's move on to the 6 and the hit number 6. This will be the last one we go to before we switch over to just 15 hits without a 7 out, 30 hits without a 7 out, so on and so forth. All right, so we are looking at the 6. So we've got a mid-press going on over here. It's going to collect. We've got a mid-press going on over here. It's going to collect. And this power press player is going to regress. They hit their second hit. Okay, so after 6 hits and then the 7 out, the player that power presses once and then regresses down has $251. That means they are plus $91. The individual regressor, the one that regresses individual numbers, after 6 hits before the 7 out, has $204, which means they are plus $44. And the 2 hits and then regress everything down player has $174, which means that they are up $14. So take 1 hit and then regress your number down, individual number, and then start mid-pressing from there is the strongest of the 3 regression strategies. If there is 1 hit and then a 7 out, 5 hits and 4, 5, and 6 hits, and then a 7 out. They are second weakest if there's only 2 or 3 hits before the 7 out. Whereas the player that takes 2 hits and then regresses down all of their bets is second weakest after 1 hit and then a 7 out, strongest after 2 and 3 hits and then a 7 out, second weakest after 4 and 5 hits and then a 7 out, and then the absolute weakest after 6 hits and a 7 out. And I'm sorry, the individual regressor is only strongest at 1, 4, and 5. 6 hits and then a 7 out, the power presser and regressor, individual regressor, is now the strongest. So what you notice is the power presser is going to be the strongest one of them if the same number hits twice, if 2 different numbers hit twice each. So from here, we're going to move on to the 15 hits without a 7 out. So now we go into the 15 rolls without a 7 out, and then we'll keep moving on forward from there. Now normally I would start down at like the 4 or the 10 and move my way down, but I'm actually going to finish up the inside numbers first so I don't lose track of where I was up to this point. And then I'll do the 4 and 10, and then once I start the 30 rolls, 45 roll, if I do the 45 and 60 roll, then I'll just sweep down the line. So the 5 we've already covered. We've already completed it because it would have 2 hits statistically on 15 rolls without a 7 out. The 6 we've also covered because the 6 and 8 both would have 2.5 hits statistically. So I'm doing 2 and then 3. So the 5 and 6 have been covered. So the 8 has had 1 hit after the 1 hit so far. So statistically at the 2.5, I said I was doing 3 here, so there will be 2 more hits on the 8. So now let's look at the 2 hit and regress down player. So the first hit, they've already regressed down. Oh no, they have not regressed down. Which player am I at? Oh yeah, they what did I do? Oh no, yeah, they already regressed down and then they mid-pressed up. So now they're going to mid-press themselves. Losing my train of thought, sorry. Actually took a break in between these and stepped away, so I kind of hurt my train of thought a little bit. I'm not too sure exactly what I just did here. All right. There we go. So they would mid-press up to 42 the first time. The second time, which would be the 3rd hit on an 8, they are going to go to 60, collect the rest. So now we go to the individual and then regress. Now they go to mid-press as well. So the first hit, there we go. Damn it, come on. And then the second time, there we go. I may have made a small mistake with this one. It's a matter of a few dollars, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. So the first hit and then the second hit, and they are in mid-press categories. Now the player that does the power press on individual numbers and then drops down will now drop down to $18 on that first hit. Now on the second hit, they're going to mid-press like everybody else is doing. Oh, one too many. So now we go to the 9. The 9 has already had 1 hit. Statistically, it's going to have 2. So we're just going to add 1 more hit to it. So this player will mid-press, going up to 35. This player will mid-press, bringing themselves up to 35. What did I just do? No, they would go up to 25. My fault. And then this final player, it's now their second hit. They power press the first time. So now they drop it down on the second hit. So now let's look at the 4 and the 10. So the 4 and the 10 statistically are going to occur 1.5 times each. So just like with the 6 and 8, we kind of split it. We're going to do 1 hit here and 2 hits here. So the first hit on the 4, his player will throw in $1, get paid 30, but they will mid-press themselves up to 25. This player will throw in the $1, and it's the first hit. They will regress down. This player will throw in the $1 and power press themselves up. This is only the first hit, and they regress after 2 2 hits. Now we'll look at the 10. So with the 10, this player, once again, will throw in the dollar and mid-press themselves up to 25. This player will throw, actually no, we're not going to throw in the dollar this time. After 1 hit, they regress down. Now we go to the second hit. So the second hit, this player throws in the, oh wait, I need to do this player. So this player does not have the dollar this time. So what we're going to do is we're going to give them 99 bucks. They would throw in the dollar and power press them up. So now we go to the second hit. So the second hit throws in a dollar, mid press, throws in a dollar, mid press. Now this player, let me make some quick change here. So this player will throw in 5 to get paid 151. Now since it's the second hit, they regress it down to the table minimum. Clean this up a little bit. Okay, so now we were 15 rolls before the 7. And let's take a look. So 15 rolls, the 15 hit mark, the player that power presses and then regresses individual numbers has $680. That means they are winning 520 bucks because they started with $160 invested. Right? They actually have their $160 back. Everybody has their $160 back, but I am taking that out because I want to see how much they are actually winning. The player that does the individual regress hits once and then regresses the number down after 15 hits has $384. $384. That means they are winning 224 bucks. And the player that does 2 hits and then regresses down everything, has 2 hits on any number, then regresses down anything, has $325. That means they are winning $165 after 15 hits. So when you start getting into the longer rolls, you'll notice that right now, the player that does the power press and then regresses down individually is the strongest. They're winning 520 bucks. While the player that does the individual regresses each number down after 1 hit and then mid presses, is winning 224, and they are the strongest. And oddly enough, what you'll notice is that the player that does 2 hits on any given number, on any of the numbers, and then regresses all of his bets down before going to a mid press, is only winning 165. They have definitely doubled up from their starting stake in this shooter, but they are winning the least amount of money. So this player is only strongest in 2 scenarios. 2 scenarios. 2 hits before a 7 out and 3 hits before a 7 out. Otherwise, they are the weakest of the 3 strategies by far. So if your goal is to play towards those shorter rolls of 2 hits, 3 hits, then a 7 out, you'll notice that this is the strongest. Now, if your goal is to cover more of the potential 7 outs, the 1 through 6 rolls before a 7 out, in general, individually regressing your numbers is going to be the strongest. Now, if you're looking at slightly longer rolls, the ones that are statistically unlikely, hitting 6 hits before the 7 out. Sorry, just scratched my neck. That might have been loud on the mic. My fault, didn't think about it. 6 hits or more before a 7 out. The player that power presses and then regresses the individual numbers is by far the strongest. They are winning the most amount of money. And That is going to continue for a little while. As you look at the bets, you'll notice that that player will be a beat behind the individual regressor. The individual regressor is going to turn out to be the strongest if you get to the truly exceptional rolls. Sorry about that, guys. The sound cut out on me. I had some technical issues right at the tail end of that video, so luckily I don't have to reshoot the whole thing, nor do I have to really go into great depth with what was going on. It was literally the last 45 seconds or so of the video. So as you guys saw, the power press and then regress strategy is super strong in some areas, super weak in other areas. The regress after one hit is strong in a lot of areas, weak in a few other areas. And the take two hits and then regress everything down is strong in a couple of areas and then weak in other areas. Over time, the one that ends up being the strongest is actually the one that that regresses and then mid-presses the quickest-ish. Generally speaking, for most of the rolls, the individual regress player is the one that is winning, because he tends to regress first on the first two hits and then go into mid-press. So those two numbers, he's ahead of the game. And as the rolls go longer, whoever's ahead of the game is going to win more money because they're a beat ahead. The one that regresses everything down after two hits ends up ahead of the game on other numbers, slightly ahead of the game. So then it just becomes a matter of which way the dice go. But again, there is no better strategy. It depends on what you were looking for. So I hope you guys found that interesting, illuminating, enlightening, or at least just plain fun. Thank you everybody for watching. We will catch you next time. Bye now. So as I promised, for the end of the video, we talk a little bit about upcoming things, plans, hopes, dreams, so on and so forth. Still looking to try and get the live streaming thing going. Amy had to pick up a second job, so between the two of us, if we include this channel, we're combining for somewhere around 130 hours a week. So trying to figure that out, plus our kid, and figure out exactly when I'll be able to do a live stream consistently every single week is really stretching me. So I'm still trying to figure it out. I will get to the live stream as soon as I possibly can. Definitely going to live stream on the Patron site. Hopefully live stream on the regular YouTube channel as well. When we start it off, we'll do the craps tournament for sure. Possibly some blackjack going on as well. Otherwise, we do still hope to be able to add in slots, Keno, video poker, and also roulette. But it's going to be a little while until we're able to sink that money into further purchases for the channel. But it is definitely at the top of our list to get done. We appreciate every single one of you guys, everybody that's been watching, everybody that's bought us some coffee, everybody that is one of our patrons. All that has been enormously helpful to us. We've added so much equipment throughout the life of this channel, only a little over a year at this point, but we started out with very basic very basic equipment. We're still hoping to upgrade our layout, but we have upgraded the equipment enormously, and that's all well, not all, but that's partially from the help that we've gotten from all of our fans out there. So we appreciate every one of you guys. Please continue emailing us strategies, ideas, questions, anything you would like to see, or anything you just have a question about, please email us. Even if the email is not something I can film, every so often that happens, the email is just too long, too convoluted. I'll still do my best to answer it. Might take me a little longer if I have to read through it and really parse it out, but I will answer it for sure. Just might take a little while. Otherwise, again, thank you everybody for watching, and we hope to have many more years to come. Bye now.